Hello, my friends. Welcome to episode 17 of Let's Talk Soul to Soul. Get yourself comfortable as we await the arrival of our very special guest, Coach Chelsea. Chelsea Dawn is joining us today. I'm so excited for this conversation. Oh, hard to believe we're at episode 17. I thank you for joining me, joining us, wherever you're coming in from. Please feel free to drop your name. We are going live, and I plan to send out a recording as well. Awesome. Chelsea, hello.
Hello.
Wonderful to see you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh my gosh, I was so excited when we finally connected.
I know. It's really incredible. It is really incredible, Chelsea. I'm just holding on a few moments while others join on, and there's just this energy being in your presence and doing these kinds of, these lives that is so powerful, and this is what it's all about. It's these soul-to-soul connections that our world needs so much more of, but that we do. We do too. So we're starting here in these ways, these little ways, but the ripple effect can be felt. I really truly believe that. And so I welcome everyone who's joined us. Please get comfortable. Get yourself a hot or cold drink, I guess, depending on where you are. Chelsea, where are you joining us from?
I am coming to you from Kelowna, BC, so the interior of the province, or the interior of the Okanagan, I guess. So
Yes.
we are just on the cusp of like winter into spring. And so yesterday it was beautiful and 18, and today it's overcast and 10. So I've got my hot water and lemon here.
Nice. You're all set. Awesome. Well, my fireplace had just come on. I'm in
That
bed.
tells you something, hey?
We just wait 5 minutes and the weather changes. So that's
right.
okay. It's like with life.
Yeah.
It's like with life, right? So finding those ways to anchor no matter what is happening, and that is what you are all about. So I welcome you. I welcome our soul family, our soul brothers and sisters into this sacred space that we are creating. It truly is. And maybe just taking a few moments to put down whatever you're carrying in your minds, on your hearts, and just be fully present with us in this moment of now, so that you can awaken your intuition, that beautiful voice. You can ask, what is life showing me now? And receive whatever you need at this moment, so that you can take action, inspired action, however that looks. For me, it was connecting with you, Chelsea. And just knowing that there was an energy that I didn't want to keep to myself. I wanted also to share that. And that's what Let's Talk Soul to Soul is all about. We're shining the spotlight on the journeys, the lessons, the messages, the missions of everyday people like you, like me, who are discovering and blazing new soul-aligned paths, sparking possibilities not just for yourself, but for others. And this is the energy of living true and living free. This is the energy. No one could give that to us. right here.
Yeah.
But we have trail angels like you, like others, who appear in our life. I say they just parachute in to provide us perhaps a little guidance, whatever it is, or just hold space, because the human spirit does not need or want to be saved or fixed.
No.
Right? In the words of Parker J. Palmer, the spirit wants to be seen, held, and witnessed. And that's what this soulful journey, I call it, this soulful adventure is all about. Yeah. And so I really thank you for joining me. And, you know, like I said, I've met many along this path. It hasn't been easy. It's been arduous, you know what, but it's worth it. And anyone who's out there, this is why we bring together voices to be heard and stories shared, because, you know, it's agonizing keeping things in. And there is a better way. If you have that inkling, you know what? You're on track. You're right. There is. And so I'm very grateful, and I just want to mention Merkaba Health Collective, my dear soul sister Lori, who I met kind of similar to how I met you, Chelsea, through a group of entrepreneurs, feisty, spirited, trailblazing entrepreneurs who are motivated by deeper intentions and possibilities for freedom in all ways. So Lori founded the Merkaba Health Collective, and they have partnered with us. So any wellness practitioners of any modality are able to receive a 10% discount on their yearly membership. So I will include the code in the notes.
So cool.
Isn't that so cool? And Lori is in Sedona right now, and she is just, yeah, she's on her own soulful journey, but she's sharing this new way of, this new paradigm for health and wellness in our country and actually beyond. And that's what people like you have tapped into as well. There's this common thread among us. And so I'm just going to share a little bit of background before I turn it over to you. There's so much to talk about, but you are a mindset and somatics coach, but your background is corporate. Like so many of us who have come from traditional institutions or lines of work. And you are passionate about your new path. I read, I think, a quote. You said, there are a zillion reasons why you love what you're doing. Your soul's mission, your vocation, that right here. You've learned a lot of lessons along your journey that have become your gifts, Chelsea, and guiding beautiful souls to build stronger connections to their bodies and discover empowerment through conscious daily living is what you're all about. There's no magic healing bullet, but learning to speak the language of your body is a game changer. And that's not something we've been taught.
No.
So you know there's a better way. Many of us do, for long-lasting health, well-being, fulfillment. And what I love about what you're doing, Chelsea, is you just make it so clear and upfront. You come with the promise that anyone who comes into your circle can take whatever they've learned, gained, whatever they've drawn forth from themselves, and share it in their families, within their communities. You don't want to keep this a secret, what you're doing, nor do you want others. And so let's let the cat out of the bag, Chelsea, even more. I'm going to turn things over to you, my friend. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for having me here today. Before we get started, I wanted to let you know that I so appreciate your presence. I appreciate the pace that you have, which is so deliciously slow. Like it just allows me to down regulate to match up to what you're doing. And so that's really beautiful for me. Again, I come from the corporate world, and so my instinct is to be up and activated and go, go, go all of the time. And so initially when I would meet people who had your disposition that was much slower and much more deliberate and lovey, it was frustrating for me. And now I've learned that I can feel into it and I can meet you there. And so it's just so beautiful. So please never stop doing that, because it's just beautiful.
Chelsea, this is so wonderful you say this, because I am so high energy. And
really?
People who, yeah.
Because I always thought you so down regulating.
Yes. I think more mindfully now, I know the importance of what I've learned about our nervous systems, and going through the last couple of years is that mine was so taxed. I was in fight or flight mode, and my boxing gloves were on. And it was only until I was able to really, and I have years of experience in this kind of work, but I had to, it was beyond any type of reset that I had ever gone through and mindset shift. But that's why I know that even just being present for people like this and creating a space where their nervous systems feel safe,
yes,
is the most underrated contributor to healing and flourishing. Because in this space is where our authentic selves can shine. So I thank you for recognizing that piece, that part of me. Yeah. Thank you so much.
I'm so glad you could receive that.
Thank you.
You've tapped in and talked about the nervous system just a little bit, which is what most of my work focuses on. I started to find this work. I actually was in the corporate world, and I spent 10 years there, 8.5 of them probably in active burnout, not knowing it. I thought that's what success felt like in the body, right? I thought I was killing it at work, but work was actually slowly killing me. And I went to a conference one day, and in a breakout room they had a breathwork session, and I'd never experienced anything. In fact, I thought it was absolutely ridiculous. What are you telling me? I'm a pro at breathing. I do it every day, every single moment. So what can you show me, right?
Yes.
So needless to say, 20 minutes later, my full, I just explain it, everything within me burst wide open, and I just felt that there was so much more possibility. I felt clarity and I felt focus, and I was like, I don't know what this is, but I need to understand more of this. And so I became certified in breath work. And through doing that work, I absolutely loved it. What I realized was the piece about breath that is so powerful is that you are regulating your nervous system.
Yeah.
So you can upregulate it and you can downregulate it just using your breath. That's actually how it's run. Most people think it's mindset. I'm going to just calm down. I'm just going to think myself to calm, but it doesn't work. It's regulated through the breath. And so I did that work for a couple of years, and then I started diving into the nervous system and how the nervous system actually operates. And it's complex yet simple. And so that's the work that I love to do with people, because my biggest message is you are not broken. You just don't know how you work yet. It's not you, it's your environment. Your environment is signaling to you that you are in a space that is not aligned with how you want to be, and that feels hard. And so that feels like chronic stress. It feels like chronic illness. It feels like not being able to get out of bed, right? You're not broken. Your body's doing exactly what it's supposed to be. You're just now connected to those signals, which feels scary for people, right? Because we've not allowed ourselves to sense those connections. We've not allowed ourselves, we've plowed through, we've gone through the resistance. What does every self-development tell you? Gut it up, get out there, sister. Hustle, 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 right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you're not hustling, are you even worth it, right?
Yeah. Yes, so true. So true. I'm playing scenes in my head as you're speaking. I used to talk about, when I was back in Niagara as a principal doing my master's at the same time, getting up at 4:30 a.m. to go to the gym. And I would say I was on the treadmill running full speed ahead, within these very tight time constraints and go, go, go. I was blessed to be in work that was deeply fulfilling and have had encounters with, I was feeding my soul as well. Do you know what I mean? And nurturing my body in different ways, but it's very easy to get totally consumed. In the last couple of years, even more so, have you noticed that things have just amplified?
Things have definitely amplified. And again, we're disconnected from the automatic, the natural cycles that the body wants to do through seasons, through hours, through months, through all of those types of things, right? We're doing everything 24/7, 365. When people come to work with me, they're like, can you help me find, a way that I can work like at this level? And I'm like, why do you want to?
Yes.
Right? Like you are not even created to have that reality. And so there's more to the desire to wanting to be like that, productivity, all of those types of things. There's more core issues that have to do with your beliefs, and that is the mindset and the new neural pathways that you're going to start creating. And so it's complex yet simple, right?
Yes.
And that's why these constant, people want a checklist. There is no checklist. It's becoming connected to the body to understand what it's signaling you. I'm hot, I'm cold, I'm tired, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty. Those types of things, even we have learned to condition ourselves out, right? Look at a nurse or a doctor. They don't break during the day. Well, that's not how a natural body cycles. It doesn't.
Yes. Yes. Oh, you're hitting on so much here. And I want to share, for some people, maybe they have forgotten what it feels like to be in this natural state. And I'm going to share an example from 2 days ago for me. I was in line at the registry. They had to take a picture for my driver's license to renew my license. And I've been smiling a lot these days. I'm back to me. My energy is flowing and people feel it. I don't have to do anything. And so I'm in line and I'm socializing with everyone there. And I was told, I said, can I smile this time for the picture? Like, have the rules changed? And can I wear my yellow hat? But no, I couldn't. And she had a picture of the Mona Lisa beside the camera.
Oh my goodness.
And she said, that's the smile, that you're trying to go for. I'm like, well, how interesting, Mona Lisa, Annalisa. So it was the hardest thing for me to contain my smile. So that energy was and I was still laughing inside, but it reminds me of over the last couple years when I felt like my voice didn't matter in this world anymore. I didn't belong in my home, in my community, in my country, and all of me went in. I was like this all the time. My body was keeping the score. Everything was tight. The energy I was confined and I was in fight mode.
Yeah.
But now that I'm on the other side, there are times when we will go through these, whatever it is, it's rocking us.
Yeah.
But that, like you're talking about, being in tune to the body's keeping the score, the body's sending messages. Are we listening?
Absolutely. And the full human experience is experiencing every emotion on the range. And so again, people are going through life and they're like, I want to be calm all the time. And I'm like, that actually would be pretty dangerous. You'd get run over by cars, right? If you were calm all the time and your nervous system wasn't registering activation or when danger or threat was near you, then you would get run over by something because that's what our body is doing. Similarly, if you're excited all of the time, that would be exhausting. And so we're meant to pendulate. We're meant to cycle. And I just noticed that somebody had put in the things, totally, we're so disconnected from our natural cycles. And every construct that we live within has been designed to disconnect us. The workday is designed to disconnect us from our body. we don't just have bio breaks on the hour when your meeting ends, right?
Yeah.
You don't just eat at noon. Like, the body is constantly going through its ebbing and flowing, and you know, you've had more sleep or less sleep, more exercise, less, your food, your nutrition, your emotions, like all of that. So it's constantly fluxing. And so I'm saying, you know, where I get to people is, let's live in an 80-20. 80% of the time you're living in this way that is holistic and caring for yourself as well as you can, and 20% of the time you're letting your hair down and you're letting loose, right? Because we live in this world where you want to eat the cake, you want to like drink the wine, you want to do all that stuff.
Yes. I mean, it's such a, you know, it's such a relief, I'm sure, for a lot of your clients to hear that.
Well, again, they have this idea that they want calm all of the time, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, so there's this idea that stress is then just going, there's going to be a lid that's put on the stress, right? And I'm like, you actually control the stress. You actually control into your life and out of your life what is creating that for you. And so through working through, and it takes time, right?
Yeah.
This is the other thing. People are like, well, you know, how long is this going to take? And I'm like, it's going to take a lifetime.
Yes, exactly.
You're constantly going to have things that come up, and it's sensing into the body how the body is registering this.
Yes.
Like, I just read a story this morning, and it was talking about the connection from the body. And so this woman had gone and she went to go get an IUD. And when she got her IUD inserted, she found that her sex drive was way low. And she didn't know what to do with this. So anyway, she went to a somatic facilitator, and through working with this facilitator, what they actually realized by listening to the body was that in her youth, she had had a surgery on her, I think it was Achilles. And the Achilles reattachment didn't go well. And so she was in constant pain. She still couldn't play the sports that she loved. And the doctor would not listen to her. And so her body had trapped this sensation in the body for any medical procedure, which 30 years later then was an IUD. And then it had its, right? And so these things that seemingly we think that we have let go or whatever, we maybe not even remember.
Yes. Yes. And there's so many quick fix bandages out there.
Yes. And
right?
there are no quick fixes.
Yeah.
There's like, the one thing that I love about the work that I do is that I am a facilitator. I help you create an experience so that you can do something. I am not your healer.
Yes.
And you can take this information and you can share it with other people. So you can share this with your kids, with your colleagues, with your, like, anybody. I didn't create this. I'm just teaching you how the body works, right? Like, it's not me.
Yeah.
I just know how to say it. That's all.
Yes. Yes. And you've had this lived experience,
Yeah,
which is so valuable, right? It's like the book smarts and the street smarts married, right? Which creates this, you know, this sense of, wow, like she's walking the talk. She gets me.
well, and now I know how to dovetail it together. Like, one of the girls told me about my last women's group that I did. She's like, this is super awesome because it's like you've taken all of these podcasts and books and conferences and like you curate it into this discussion that then we can talk about. And they absolutely love it, right? And so what we do is we talk about, like, Kate, we're talking about self-esteem today. And so we talk about it, and then they go throughout the week. And throughout the week, when you have this, like, you're kind of tuned in to what self-esteem looks like. Because we all think we have the definition of what self-esteem is, but when you actually dial down into what self-esteem is it actually what you think it is? And is it showing up in your life the way that is? Now, we don't want to be granular and like totally like overthinking everything. We want to be conscious everyday living where you're conscious about what you're doing, because 95% of what you're doing is subconscious. You're just running on autopilot. 5% is conscious, because it's overwhelming. Every single one of your senses is taking it all in, right?
Yes. Yes.
That's where slowness in the body feels good, because when you're moving at a fast pace and you're taking in a lot of feedback from all 5 of your senses, Feels like a lot. No wonder you're
Yeah.
activated all the time.
Yes.
So we hear
Absolutely.
the advice all the time, slow down, but like the reason is because you can feel more, because
Yeah.
because it's easier on the body.
Mm, mm, mm-hmm. And it makes so much sense as you explain it. But again, these are those lessons that we're not, that aren't traditionally taught. And I'm thinking, I know we have some young mothers that have joined us that, the women who are saying, I want things to look different for my kids
Yeah,
too.
yeah, absolutely.
And this disconnection from natural cycles and this innate knowing.
Yeah, of becoming connected to your child,
Yeah.
right? And so being aware of the things that create disconnection. Now we live in this world, I call it the matrix. We live in this world, and so we have to exist within it. And so how can we do that consciously living in a way that feels aligned? So my job isn't to tell you whether or not that's aligned. My job is to help you understand when you're feeling misaligned, that
Yeah.
it might be these things, right? It's not for me to tell you whether or not getting on the treadmill and running at full speed at a 10 incline works or not. Like, if you do you, boo, right? If that
Yeah.
feels good for you, then that's what you do. But there's going to be somebody next to you who enjoys a stroll on the treadmill, and
Mm-hmm.
you get the same thing from it, because what is your intention behind doing that? If it's not
Exactly.
about productivity, if we take out being productive all of the time, what can
Yeah.
it look like for you?
So true. This whole idea of intention
Yes. Yeah.
is so key. Just really understanding why we're doing the things we're doing or thinking the thoughts we're thinking,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Just this
And
morning, somebody said to me, okay, I'm going to go and do this. How does it sound? And I said, I think it sounds great, but tell me about
yeah.
what your intention is. Right.
Yes. Yeah.
And so when she told me what her intention is, I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Like, yeah, you got it.
Hmm. And we live in a world where we're really not used to stepping back and observing. It's this very reactive
Yeah.
type of way of living that, again, I felt really was amplified over the last few years of people just being told do this or else.
Yeah.
That now we're in this, there's this energy I feel of people wanting to, knowing that there's something more. This is not it. There's a deeper longing within
Yeah.
for a different way.
Yeah. And I think people can feel that. And I think people sense it in the body now. And it feels
Yes.
like misalignment. And it also feels like you're broken. Am I supposed
Yes.
to be feeling like this? And my message is yes, because it's telling me that you are having an awakening. And
Yes.
it's uncomfortable because you're allowing those through now. And sometimes, the body whispers, and then it starts to like just talk normally, and then it starts to shout, and then it will get really, really angry.
Yes.
But it will not be ignored. The body eventually
Yes.
will not be ignored. And so that's why, again, another thing that's really looked down upon in our society are nervous breakdowns. But
Yes.
let me just tell you, the nervous system has been built to do that. When you have reached your max capacity, there is nothing else for it to do. It will flip off. That's a
Yes.
safety. The body is just created so that you can survive. It doesn't care what it has to do to get you there.
Yeah. Oh, I love this. I
Yeah.
love this conversation. And I know you're bringing this message out. You were talking about the women's groups that
Yeah.
you run. Can you tell us a little more about what you're doing?
The women's groups, they're very small, like 6 girls in each one of them. So I'm doing a virtual one, and there will be an in-person one here in Kelowna. And it is designed to run you through how your body works. And so we
Mm,
talk about the nervous system. So we talk about how the body processes emotions. We talk about what
mm.
self-esteem is. We talk about how you work self-compassion into your day. So
Oh,
each one of the sessions is 2 hours long, and it will have a topic, and then we have discussion. We always do breath work. So just to back up the story a little bit, when I discovered breath work, what I found was it had such an innate connection to the body when you did it,
Yes.
that people had emotions, right? And so they had these emotions, and we didn't have a way to be, we weren't facilitating conversation around it. And so people were going home into the week and they were like really raw and tender with themselves because emotion had come to the surface, because that's how it's built. And so I was like, I really need to start practicing in a different way. And that's why I've created these women's group. And so we do breath work and then we have discussion because things are closer to the surface.
Yeah.
So it creates connection with the body. Then you go out through your week and you have maybe a heightened awareness of the topic that we've talked about. Like, oh, that's my nervous system. Oh, I noticed that it's front facing right now or back facing right now or whatever it's doing, right? Like you just have more awareness, not hypercritical.
Yeah.
Just curiosity, right? I wonder what this means. I wonder what my body is trying to tell me. And I'll tell you this. When your body has a message for you, you will not need to go and ask anybody else, is this what my body is telling me? It is a knowing. It drops in like that, and you're just like, okay, yeah,
I get it. Yeah.
So that's the women's group. So it's 6 weeks. You get recordings for the virtual ones. You get 6 weekly guided meditations over the 6 weeks. There's a messenger group that everybody is included in. And I think there's one more thing, but I can't remember. Oh, one-on-one with me as well.
Wow.
And this is the work that I love doing, because the other thing people do not realize is that the nervous system right now in these times is craving community. We want to come together because our nervous systems need community to be healthy. And what I'm finding are so many people are like, oh, after the last couple of years, like I'm so introverted. And I'm like, are you though?
Yes. Yes.
Right?
I understand what you're saying completely. This connection when you know, as I was reading a little more about you and you're talking about connection, that's exactly what came up for me too. This holistic sense of connection to self, but then to other.
Yes. And so by you learning how the body works and your relationship with other people, can you see where they're misaligned? Can you offer to hold space for them? And, like when you're well, because we want to pour into our own cup first. But if all of us are aware of this information of how the body works, could you imagine what the world might look like? Like we are not taught any of this sort of thing.
Exactly. And it is just when we can just get to the essence of it, you know, the uncomplicated essence, we're able to hold and create more of these spaces where it doesn't matter what your age is, what your stage is, you know, what your status is. It doesn't matter. We can hold space.
Janice just said, isn't the introversion a protection for the nervous system to pull back and heal? It certainly can be. I mean, again, when you're connected to your body and you recognize that that's how you need to do, but the idea is coming back into community. What I'm seeing now is that people have had this protection over the nervous system over the last couple of years and yet are still in that fear and scarcity. And so that's a mindset now that's been created. And so there's a little bit more work in the neural pathways that has to be done in order to come back into community. But yes, the nervous system will shut down in order for it to heal itself, for sure.
Yes, and you know, I think about what type of community you're going back into.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So if it is a nurturing community, you know, then, you know, that transition back, I mean, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, to be honest with you. As people step back out into the world or into these spaces with others, I want it to be a place of safety. That is the ultimate goal here. That's the intention. Right? right?
Yeah.
So I think what, that comment is really interesting, because what I felt was happening to me when my nervous system was like, oh my gosh, this is fight, flight, I got to get these gloves on, is that I was building walls around my heart and closing myself off. I didn't want to be out there because there were too many reminders of things that I had lost or I had thought I lost.
Yeah.
Right? But I needed to I did a lot of work in shifting, really saying, says who I don't belong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who's telling me this? Is it a fact?
And we have to process that through the body so that it's no longer the belief. And so, to Janice's point, once we go inwards and we process by releasing, then we can come back out. But what I'm finding is that people have been inwards. They haven't and rest alone, there's 7 different ways to rest, right? Technology, nature, there's tons of ways for you to rest.
Mm-hmm.
And so even when we're sleeping, that's not necessarily enough, because if it was, and we're all getting 8 hours of sleep, wouldn't we all be functioning properly? And so we need to be looking at life in different ways, because technology is doing way more damage than we understand.
Yeah.
Yes, there's good in it, because you and I can connect from Banff to Kelowna, and we have a reach that is absolutely massive. But I actually just went on a 10-day trip to St. Lucia, and it was the first time ever that I unplugged for 10 days. And so my nervous system was able to recalibrate from that on a whole new level that I'd never been offered before. And I'm having a really hard time coming back and plugging in. And so I am very mindfully now creating my work-life balance to look very different, because I realized, even though I do this work, I wasn't looking after myself in the way that I needed to be. And so in order to, having those boundaries with yourself of 5 o'clock, my phone goes off, right? I'm not doing that. I'm getting out into nature. I am connecting with my spiritual, whatever that is, universe, God, however you look at that, right? Being out in nature, taking time to create. All of these things nurture the body in different ways other than sleep.
Oh, I love the message that you're sharing, and I echo it wholeheartedly. That's why I'm still here.
I love it.
No, I mean that. I didn't give up on myself. I knew that there was a deeper reason why things were happening, and that I would be led back home. I do what's called Let's Take Your Spiritual Pulse. I offer, I'll do some live, but it's just to share what you're talking about, these practices that help us to turn inward, and learn ways to just soothe, to nurture, to cultivate, to affirm whatever it is we need. And so, I share passages from Mark Nepo's Book of Awakening, which is a beautiful.
I think that's the one you showed me yesterday, isn't it?
I just love it. And they're just some reflective questions. And you mentioned curiosity earlier. And coming from that place of curiosity and compassion, we see things completely different.
Yeah. But it's not, in the Western world or Western culture, that is not rewarded. So you're a cream puff if you do that, or, you're going nowhere, or there's laziness and all that sort of stuff. But in fact, the largest growth or the fastest growth indicator will be how self-compassionate you can be, because you need to have that lens. You need to have that lens of looking at what reality is. Yes, I missed the deadline. Why did I miss the deadline? And able to be fair and just about the evaluation that you're giving yourself, but also understanding why, so that you can go and fix things. If you can't have that compassionate lens, then life feels hard. But again, how many people in our generation grow up with no pain, no gain? That is inbred into you, right? Look at Tylenol or Advil. Look at their ads. They they make products so that you can go and run a marathon when your body's like, actually, I don't think I can, right?
Yeah.
And their slogan is like pushing through, or like it's like something like that, right?
Yes.
This is the world that we're living in. Now, if we're honoring our body and we want to be in a rest mode all of the time too, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about cycling up and down. I'm talking about having, you know, balance and harmony in your life. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, right? Like,
Yeah, totally.
yeah.
Yes. It's getting back to, again, some of these fundamental ways of being that are, you know, the natural cycles.
Yes.
The natural cycles. I mean, I have Italian roots, and I think back to even when I was traveling through Italy in 2016 through these little towns, and the pace at which people moved, there isn't this rushing here, there to do and be more and accumulate more. And it was interesting in speaking with some of the older, little nonos and nonnas there. So many of the young people, even in countries like Italy, have gone up north because they've been swept up by this go, go, go. No pain, no gain. More is better, when yet actually less is more.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as an exercise, take a pulse of every time that you feel impatient in life, right? Over the next 2 days, every time you feel impatience, and then root down into the core of what that is. Is it about your productivity? Is it about somebody getting in your way? Is it about, like, what is that about?
Yes.
Where are you trying to go that you feel like somebody else is in your way?
Yes. I love these little exercises because, Chelsea, I know so much of what you do is exactly this. You provide these little tips, little exercises that can be easily integrated to help build really this foundational self-awareness and consciousness.
And that's what I'm sharing, is like, here's some knowledge for life to feel a little bit easier for you, right? I don't know all the answers, and I'm going to tell you, I lose my marbles just like everybody else. Like, I'm a human being. And so it's much easier looking at other people externally and helping and supporting in that way, because I don't have the emotions behind it. I have empathy, and I can feel what they're going through, but I'm still human, and I'm still going through my experience, and we're always going to butt up against things that are against where we feel like we want to go.
Yeah.
And so the opportunity, when you feel like you're bumping up against somewhere where you want to go, why do you want to go there? Right?
Yes. 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 Yes, totally. And Chelsea, I so appreciate just your openness with sharing about yourself too. And I feel this way about myself also. It's very easy for me to companion others, but also and a lot of people will say to me, Annalisa, your energy, your smile, you're always upbeat. But in the last few years especially, I didn't feel myself. I was unrecognizable to myself.
Yeah.
What we have to offer, though, is this knowing that you have, that we all have, that we can handle whatever comes our way, whatever we bump up against. Like you said, it's just, I see the word exhale, I think, in your background there.
Yeah.
Exhale, right?
I have it tattooed on me.
Yeah.
It's my word.
Yes.
It is my word. Like, it just take a second and do a deep exhale. Anybody who is here, and just let it be felt in your shoulders. Let your shoulders come down from your ears in just 5 seconds. Allow your shoulders to come down from your ears with a glorious exhale. And take that with you throughout the day, like, right? It's always with us.
Yeah.
It is always with us. It is my most favorite word, for sure.
I had a feeling. I love that word too, Chelsea. And this last exercise that you did is a real gift. It's a gift that all of our friends listening is something, please take away with you, share it. So easy to integrate, really, into your day. It doesn't have to be more work, really. And then it becomes natural.
It gets to be natural, and you just get to, like, placing hands on the body if
Yeah,
it feels okay for you, and saying, what would you have me know right now? And
exactly.
just being still, right? Like, what are you trying to tell me right now? When you're racing through life and you don't permit the body to speak to you, then it feels very jumbly inside. The thoughts are not cohesive, right? Like, you don't have clarity and focus. But when you allow yourself to slow down and to feel into what is present, then you have way more information to be doing what it is that you want to be doing. But we live in this world that is, you know, hustle and like all of this sort of stuff, and you know, it's got to stop. It's breaking people.
It is.
I cannot count the amount of people in the medical field that are on sick leave right now, because that's how the industry works.
And I think in the end, Chelsea, things had to crumble.
Yeah.
Big time. Yeah. Because the warning signs that were there were not being heeded, and the changes that needed to happen from the top really weren't filtering down. So you had these movements which are happening grassroots, which is so awesome, but now it is beyond, you know, I don't want to say epidemic proportions, but it is the norm now.
Yeah, it's definitely making movements.
Yeah.
You know, again, it's really important to note that when, I think my husband's coming down here.
Welcome.
This is the virtual world, right? The
I
kids
love,
are in the back walking through, getting stuff out of the fridge. Yeah. Oh, I lost my train of thought.
We were just talking about how systems have to break down.
Yeah, and so moving that now into the marketing field of when we're doing business, right?
Yeah.
Psychologically, you are way easier to sell to when you're dysregulated. When you can't think straight, you're way easier to sell with. And so that is the marketing. It's fast, it's furious, it's like, you know, you're gonna lose out if you don't, right? That is meant to create something in the nervous system to make you buy.
Yeah.
And what I want to let you know is that you always have choice.
Boom. Thank you.
Always have choice. That is why I do a virtual women's group and I do an in-person women's group, right? If one isn't feeling good for you, then the other one will. When we're doing exercises, if it doesn't feel aligned with you doing it there or at that time, then you get to choose. When you're doing breath, you get to choose the breath that feels right, or you get to pause, or you get to leave the room. There is always choice with what you're doing. And my one thing that I would invite you to know is that if you feel like you're in a situation where you don't have choice, look deep. Look deep.
Yeah.
Why is that? Is somebody making you feel that way? Right? And if so, is it in your best interest?
Exactly.
And if you have every red flag in the body going and bells and whistles, your body knows. How many times have you had that gut reaction or that, I knew that was going to happen?
Yeah.
Because your body knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So true. And I really like how you're reminding us that we ultimately have the choice. And that's hard for some people to, you know, appreciate, understand, and own. But it is possible. And this new way, as we move forward, that's one thing that I think has to be at the forefront. We always have a choice. We can choose the thoughts that we're allowing to enter the sanctuary of our souls, that are entering that subconscious, that garden. We can choose the thoughts. We can stop them right there. The more self-aware we are, and replace them with ones that are going to be more fulfilling, that are going to bring us joy, that will bring us peace. And really, it is a practice, right? It's like any muscle you're trying to strengthen.
It's awareness. It's conscious everyday living, right? Of, yes, I'm feeling this right now. But again, when we move into self-compassion, well, it's normal to feel this way because that's disappointing. So I'm going to allow myself to be in this energetic state for a little bit. Then I'm going to move past it, right? We don't allow ourselves that, though. We don't, you know, it's not comfortable. And when people are holding space for us, then they're trying to fix for us. They're trying to solve, right? That's not what this is about. This is about feeling what's with us in this moment so that we can move forward. And so, you know, that's that. And you don't always get it right either, right? I mean, we're works in progress. And that's why community is beautiful, because we can come back to community and say, hey, guess what happened to me this week? And then people are like, oh my gosh, that happened to me too.
Exactly.
Like, you're not alone. The things that you're experiencing, you're not alone. Everybody else is experiencing them too, but they're just posting their best moments on Instagram and Facebook, right? Like,
Exactly.
nobody has unicorns and rainbows all of the time. Like, it just doesn't exist.
Yeah. Yes. So true. And this community, I want to just go back to it because it's so vital for generations to come, I think, too, and what kind of a legacy we're leaving for, I don't have kids, but everyone's kids are my kids. What are we leaving behind, right? We are one, this sense of oneness that we don't all have to be the same or think the same, but there is a connection that transcends all labels, all identifiers, which is really beautiful. I think it's just so beautiful. And when I think about like this donut idea, you know, there's a hole in the center, and you know, the donut, and I think about some of those experiences, those hard experiences and whatnot that we feel within that center of the donut as we build community, as like these kind of conversations, soul to soul.
Yeah.
They're like heart massages.
Oh, sorry.
We build that life around some of those hard experiences, and that those are hearts. But that's for me been where the energy has then said, oh yeah, it's time. I'm free. I'm free to be me again.
Yeah. Again, you know? That's the nervous system, though, coming back into community and feeling whole. We can't feel whole without having that. And that's what was so hard for us over the last couple of years, right? Yeah. Is that we didn't have that community around us. Yeah. And so this connection is even more important than people understand. If you're feeling like you are dragging, you know, one of the things you may want to look at is getting back into community, whatever that looks like, joining the hockey league again, or volleyball, or volunteering, or whatever it is. Being in community is what the nervous system needs. It is part of the reparation that can happen for the
Beautiful, Chelsea. I'm mindful of your time. How are you doing?
Good. I could talk forever. I could do like 6 hours. So
I know, me
I'm passionate about what I'm doing. So
I know you are, Chelsea. And I see we've had some new soul family members join us. Wonderful. Welcome from wherever you are. I will. This is being recorded, and I'm hoping I'll be able to put it out. Chelsea, I know we had some little glitches with, I don't know if it's when I added you as a collaborator that things got funny, but I'll also post it on, I've just started like a YouTube channel, not because this is my world, but because it's another possible way for people to access what might be some nourishment or whatever it is. But these questions, you know, for everyone who's here, you know, what is life telling you now? You know, here you are. I want to acknowledge you for making this time.
Yeah. The one other thing that I do weekly is I do a Thrive Thursday on 8 to 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. So it's virtual. There's no cost. Come as you are. Usually we'll have a quick check-in and just see how you are, and then do a little bit of breath work or a guided meditation, and then carry on through your day. And so I'll provide the link to you, and if people would like to join, that would be amazing. Let other people know about it. If you've not experienced guided meditation or just connecting with the body in that way, it is a beautiful way sort of to dip your toes in. It's usually 10 to 12 minutes. It's a really short practice. If you're one of those people who's impatient with slowing down, this is the way to start. If you're one of those people who say, I can't meditate because I can't slow my mind, breathwork is really beautiful for that, because it disconnects the mind from the body. When we breathe in that pattern, it down regulates the nervous system. So yeah, there's lots of ways to dip your toes in so that you can get used to and sort of grow the practice. You don't want to jump right into an hour long thing that might feel like a lot for the nervous system, right?
Yes, I love this. Chelsea, I love it. Just dip your toes in.
Yeah.
Just dip, and you never know where it may lead.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, my whole thing, like to be here today talking about nervous system when I started as a breathwork facilitator, and now I'm diving into women's hormones and cortisol and all that sort of stuff because I had no idea how related that was to nervous system. Like, it's just understanding your body really is the key to living well and making really great decisions.
Yeah.
Right? That's really what it comes down to, but we have not been provided this information. This information is not how we have been conditioned in life. And so that's why life feels hard, because all of a sudden you're like, ooh, I'm not liking how this is feeling, but it's not you, it's your environment.
Yes, totally, totally. And I've had many guests on our Let's Talk Soul to Souls who are exactly talking about the very things that you are, this important reconnecting with that infinite innate source of wisdom and knowledge so you can make those well-informed decisions from a place of knowledge and compassion and non-judgment.
Yeah, and the thing I would add to that is to trust yourself, right?
Yeah.
To trust yourself is one of the most beautiful gifts that you can give yourself. Not always having to make the right decision, but knowing that you can adapt and evolve and, pivot through anything. Trusting yourself is the most beautiful gift you can give yourself.
I so agree with you. No matter what anyone else thinks or what anyone else is doing, trust yourself. And that inner knowing is more powerful than people really realize.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
And it comes through these building blocks of building the foundation of understanding how the body works. It doesn't have to be in depth. It's not, it's not college level or anything like that. But when you are like, oh, okay, I noticed that I'm having this response, which makes sense because I know the body works like this, you feel a little bit more normal. Right?
Totally.
How many times have you gone to a girlfriend and you're like, oh my gosh, is this normal? I used to say it all the time. I used to ask somebody else if it was normal that I was experiencing something. Yeah. That's not normal.
Yes. Yes. Well, it's so exciting, Chelsea, to have these conversations because this is the way forward. This is the way forward.
I agree.
Right? Yeah. And the more of us who are talking this way and opening these conversations by listening to each other.
Yeah.
And creating the conditions for the nervous system to just, wow.
Yeah.
The more possibilities they are to really have this ripple effect of change in the world out there, within ourselves, in our home, in our communities, in our country, and beyond that. It's possible.
I completely agree.
And that's why you're here with me today, Chelsea. Yeah. I want to thank you so much. Maybe we'll do like a part 2 sometime.
Well, I would love to do a part 2. I hope you find me on a Thursday morning too.
Yes. Oh, yes. And I'll make sure that I do include the information, your links, how to reach you. Your Instagram page is always really full of just really helpful tips too, takeaways for everyone. You've got these gifts, Chelsea, and sharing them is where that energy and your passion is, and it shows. I thank you for companioning me, for being one of those trail angels in my life, and all of us who have joined. I wish you just a really blessed day, and thank you for spending this time with us today.
I'm sending you so much love. Thank you, everybody who joined, and I sure hope we connect on the journey of life.
Yeah. Yes, that's it. That's it. And who knows, maybe in person. I love the Okanagan.
Absolutely.
Anything's possible, right, my friends? Anything's possible on this soulful adventure of life that we are on.
I agree. All right. Well, have a beautiful day. Sending smooches. We'll chat soon.
Thank you
so
much.
Okay.
Ciao, everyone.
Bye.